I've been using the DreameTech Z10 Pro as my daily vacuum driver for about 3 months or so, and you know what, the dust bunnies went away, my floors are spickly clean, so I can't complain, but unfortunately this is no Roborock. The Z10 Pro has a lot to offer. It has a lot of navigation, also has a front 3D sensor, so when your loved ones, your pets, your children leave their toys behind, their objects behind on the ground, well, fortunately, this robot vacuum will not suck them up. We'll actually go around it and keep those objects intact. Now, the Z10 Pro also offers a self-emptying bin, electronic mopping, has multi-map saving, and fast map option, which I'll talk about later in this video. There's a lot of features, the list can go on and on. But at $490, is this a worthy buy? Well, let's talk about my 3 months user experience with the Z10 Pro and what I think about it, and we'll talk about what my final thoughts are. Alright, so the Z10 Pro, in my personal opinion, after using this guy for about 3 months, is a pretty good buy. Here's why. Well, for starters, it's one of the best optical avoidance robot vacuums out there. Now, I have compared this to like the S6 Max V, which has a counter-based system, also like the EcoVax Innate Pro Plus, the T8 Plus, the AIVI. There's a lot of great models out there. Even I tested like the 360 S10. All those models are good, but this guy is so quick at navigating obstacles, it wasn't even funny. It was actually able to outperform the S6 Max V in the obstacle navigation challenge. You can see that. I know it's not realistic, but it just kind of shows how quick the DreameTech Z10 Pro is. Now, if you don't want the self-emptying bin, there's the L10 Pro. I consider that the smaller brother. Very similar in specifications. The only difference is the L10 Pro does have a larger dustbin, around 570 milliliters, and also the water tank is slightly larger, around 270 milliliters. But I don't think that's a huge downside to the Z10 Pro since it does offer the self-emptying option. Now, let's talk about the self-emptying bin, which is included in the $490 price point. It has a dual extractor ports, but one thing to note is it only extracts dirt from one side. This is reserved for the airflow, unlike the EcoVax system, which actually extracts dirt from both sides. Now, just from my personal experience using this guy for about 3 months, I'll show you the results of the dustbin. I do not clean the robots just so I can stress test them. You can see this dustbin is fairly clean. There's some dirt in the filter. It's recommended to keep the filter clean as well, but it does a pretty good job keeping the dirt out. They should just run this guy about maybe twice or 3 times a week for about 3 months, and this is the results of it. So I'm pretty happy with the self-emptying system. Now, you may notice that the dustbin is smaller because it has this little section for the self-emptying port or the system, and it's like a little magnetic flap. I think this helps keep the dirt out of here so there's no clogs, which is a unique design. It works well, so I'm happy with the self-emptying system. Now, as for the bag, it's very large. I can go probably about maybe 5 months of emptying. Over time, I noticed that the dirt stays down because I'm running these guys so often. It's more than what you do with like a traditional stick vacuum or upright vacuum. You usually run these guys more often since it's more convenient. Alright, let's talk about the cleaning performance. Now, I tested both these models, the Z10 Pro, the L10 Pro, in a variety of different settings, and they're pretty good, not the best. The Roborock S7 Plus did outperform these guys in terms of like carpet cleaning, but with this combination style extractor bar, it did a pretty good job picking up the variety of dirt and debris. Now, let's talk about one downside of the Z10 Pro. It's this extractor bar here. It's a combination style. A lot of manufacturers like Roborock, EcoVax, go with this style, which is a combination of bristles, silicone, but you may notice that there's a bunch of hair wrapped around. You see that? So you do have to get a cleaning tool, and if you're like a pet owner with long hair, or if your dog sheds long hair, well, that's something to consider. But one thing to note is you can remove the ends here and get the hair off the axles. So just keep that in mind, pet owners or people that have long hair. You're gonna have to keep this extractor bar fairly clean. And I hope I'm getting this on the right way. I think I am. Let's see. Maybe there's more hair trapped. Let's try this. Okay. There, and it just snaps right back in. And we're gonna put this thing back together. Just find the correct end. And put your cover back on. Alright, so let's talk about the design. It's very similar to like the Roborock. That's why I'm comparing this to the Roborock. It has a single side brush here. I did like the EcoVax design, which had dual side brushes. But one thing I think is missing is a carpet breeze sensor. Some robots actually have a dedicated carpet sensor, which is ultrasonic sensor. Unfortunately, this guy does not have one. It just uses software, but there is a carpet boost. But unfortunately, when it's mopping, you have to do keep out zone and keep it away from your carpets when it's mopping. Not a huge inconvenience, but that's just something to consider. Okay, so you can see it does have electronic mopping. These little pins here provide power to the pump. Pretty good system, but downside is the water reservoir is fairly small, around 150 milliliters. Okay, so let's give you my final thoughts on the Z10 Pro and also using the L10 Pro. I think DreameTech does a pretty good job making high-end vacuums for a cheaper price. Now, it's very hard to find a 3D sensor plus self-emptying bin for this price range. I know the N8 Pro Plus is very similarly priced, but if I had to choose between that model or this model, I would go with the Z10 Pro because it has higher specifications, 4,000 pascals, 150 minutes. So overall, spec-wise, the Z10 Pro beats out the N8 Plus. Okay, so would you get the Z10 Pro after 3 months of use? Yes, they revised the software, included some nice features like the fast mapping option, so very good job. And there's a lot of great features in the application, you can just play around with it. But, you know, the highlighted features is the remote control feature, scheduling, you can create names of your rooms, you can edit the rooms, keep out zones, all that fun stuff. So, a lot of the features are there, and I think it's a good price for $489. Alright, so thanks so much for watching, and you guys take care, have a great holiday. Stay tuned, I'll have some more products on this channel, so stick around. Adios.